Clay Purview. Watch Speedway live or on demand. And SRV Road Freight Services. Excellence in motion. Bring you Speedway Nation with Jared Ash and Ryan Harris. Right across the SEN network.
Welcome back into Speedway Nation, live around the SEN network, brought to you by the wonderful team at SRV Road Freight Services. Excellence in motion. We're mid-February. It's exciting. We've got Mr. Sprint Car this weekend, the Barbagallo Australian Sprint Car Nationals over at the Perth Motorplex. That kicks off 5 massive nights of sprint car racing over in the West. That's exciting. It's been a big January. Everyone's just starting to ramp back up and get excited about sprint car racing again. It has a little hangover from January where we just need a break. But ramping back up into that. It's been a wonderful time for sedan racing as well. We'll touch on that a little bit later in this first segment. But first and foremost, Festival of Sprintcars. Great idea by everyone over in the western side of the world, the Perth Motorplex. This Friday and Saturday night will host the Barbagallo Mr. Sprint Car Nationals. $30,000 to win on Saturday night. It's not bad. Mm-hmm. Midweek mayhem on the Wednesday, and then Friday and Saturday, the Cricket Boys shootout back to a 2-night format, which is exciting. 5 nights of racing over 9 days. It's not a bad time to be a sprint car fan of the West, Ryan.
Well, G. Migro continues to tick a lot of boxes, and he's doing a phenomenal job in Western Australia, or the whole group. And I know Migro gets embarrassed when we always talk about what he's doing, but he is leading the charge over there with a great consortium, and they're doing a great job. To sort of pick up, it was what traditionally was the end of World Series sprint cars, in inverted commas. We always finished in the West, or we had been for a while, and then that didn't happen, so he's created this, and it's really, really cool. I'm excited about it. He's been able to secure the Aussie champ, Lockie McHugh to go over. Jamie Veal's going over. Jock Goodger's going over.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Not bad from the title to just head over and join that Western Australian field, Ryan.
Very cool indeed, and it's just look how strong it is over there at the minute. The fields are strong. The competitors are, they're as good. Like, there used to be a fair gap, to be fair. There was, but there's not much of a gap anymore.
This is that little tiptoe point where you go, well, we don't want to offend anyone, but let's be fair. 10 years ago, there was a wide gap between the standard of racing over in the West and the standard of racing over here. I think that's disappeared now. You look at James Inglis, Roland Wright around the pointy end of the Australian sprint car title, Callum Williamson, didn't qualify outside the top 2 in his group. Wherever he was when he came over here east, didn't qualify anywhere outside the top 2. Not bad for someone that hasn't been the East Coast for a long while, 3 or 4 years or something like that. He's rolling around good. We've seen what Dane Kingshot's done over there, and he's right at the pointy end. Unfortunately, hasn't had the chance to test himself over here on the East Coast, but he's mixing it with those guys as well. I don't think that gap's there anymore. I think, to be honest, we know last year's Australian Sprint Car title, Lockie and Jock rolled over and ran 1-2 in the feature race in the Australian Sprint Car Championship over at the Perth Motorplex, but they weren't streets ahead of anyone. And Jamie Veal, every time he's gone over there, he's been really good, been right at the pointy end, but that's the case everywhere in the country. He's not half a lap ahead of everyone. I reckon the WA contingent, it'll be hard for an East Coaster to win sort of all 5 nights over there. I reckon the WA contingent will be pretty strong.
Yeah, it will be. And I'm sure the place will have people hanging out of the place like they have done all year. It's going to be phenomenal. The racetrack will be exceptional and the racing will be brilliant. So saddle up. It's going to be cool. The Cricket Boys is just a cool race. Like, I still go back to, 10 years ago when it was at Bunbury, and it was like, Dean and Wade and everyone were doing their cool thing. They had big, massive speakers on the infield, and it was a party. Remember they used to have the expression session, and they bring the song out and they do the donut comps and all that kind of stuff. Yep. So the Cricket Boys shootout, to me, is still that. That's how when someone says Cricket Boys shootout, that's how I picture it. And the last couple of years, or come back at the Motorplex last year, it was an awesome race, and I'm sure that will be exactly the same this year, and it'll be a party, and everyone will probably have a beer afterwards and, get excited about the rest of the year to come after that.
I'm tipping so. Question without notice. Does the Cricket Boys race still hold that same prestige now that it's the Motorplex?
I think it does, just because of it's the contribution that the family's made and continue to make with the Cricket Motorsports team. It's just a name synonymous with sprint car racing in the country. It was very special at Bunbury, there was no question. And then there was a bit of that weird feeling when it sort of went to the Motorplex, but the Motorplex had done such a good job. And it's probably one of the races that still makes sense to be
Correct.
on the calendar. Without going off topic too much, I think memorial races need a time frame.
Yep.
Because they really lose relevance. But the Cricket Boys doesn't.
Because of the family's involvement in the sport still.
I think so. But generally, I believe a memorial race should be 5 or 10 years max, and then it just needs to do its things and disappear, without things going on forever for the sake of it.
Yeah.
But the Cricket Boys race still up there.
This is SEN's Speedway Nation for Clay Per View. Watch Speedway live or on demand. And SRV Road Freight Services. Excellence in motion.